how's it going? I hope you're having an amazing summer so far. So today's video is all about college. I know that some of you are going off to college in the fall or the year after, or maybe you just want to know a little bit about college and college life. And I've gotten a lot of questions asking me about my college experience, so that's what this video is for. Just to give a bit of a background, I did my bachelor's at Texas Tech University, which is a very big southern school, and then I did my master's at Columbia University in New York, which is a smaller Ivy League school, so I got the East Coast experience as well. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is meeting people and making new friends. It can be pretty scary to start a new school and to move away from home, which is why I would say colleges make a pretty big deal out of orientation and welcome week. So this period of time is super important because everyone's new, everyone's trying to make new friends and meet people, so definitely take advantage of this time. There are typically a lot of planned events during this time too, just to make sure that everyone's getting a chance to meet each other, so be sure to go to those even if they don't sound that exciting or they don't sound like something you'd be interested in. You never know who you're going to meet, so be sure to put yourself out there and go. I personally met some of my best friends during orientation week and we're still really close to this day, so definitely take advantage of this time. The next thing I want to talk about is sororities and Greek life. So depending on the school you go to, sororities may or may not be a big part of the college experience. I was in a sorority and I absolutely loved it, but I did join later on, so one thing I regret is not rushing earlier. So if you're kind of on the fence about it or you're not sure if it's something for you, I would recommend just doing it anyways because you never know, you could absolutely end up loving your experience. So if you're on the fence about sorority rush, I would recommend just doing it anyways because you could end up absolutely loving it like I did, and if it's not right for you, you can always withdraw from the process at any time, but at least then you know that you tried. If it sounds like it might be too much for you going into college, then you can always go through recruitment later on as well. But I think it's a great thing to do going into college because then you're able to meet so many friends this way and you have a place to call home. So the next thing I want to talk about is dorm life. So living in a dorm for the first time can be very exciting and very scary because you're going away from home for the first time and you're sort of expected to be an adult now. A dorm is someplace you spend a lot of time in, so I would definitely recommend making it as homey as you possibly can. This does not mean, however, that you need to spend hundreds of dollars on dorm decorations just to make your dorm feel cute and homey. Try taking stuff that you already have at home, like maybe your comforter or your pillows, just so you have something that already feels familiar. If you don't already have one, I would recommend investing in a rug because there's nothing as uncomfortable as cold tile dorm room floors. Making your own dorm decorations is also a great way to personalize your space without spending too much money, but then be careful with this because sometimes when you end up buying all the craft supplies, it ends up costing more in the long run. String lights also go a really long way because they're cheap and they're such an efficient way to make a space feel cozy, which is probably why they're so popular. Other ways to make your space feel cozy, you can add a scentsy because I know candles aren't typically allowed in dorm rooms. Bring extra blankets from home because dorms can be pretty cold and you don't always have control over the temperature, and add a tinted lamp to soften the fluorescent lights. The next thing I want to talk about is life with a roommate. So living with a roommate is typically a fine experience most of the time, but I do know some people who've had some roommate horror stories and terrible experiences. I personally haven't had an awful roommate, and I've had a lot of roommates throughout my time in school. And I think the most important thing is to just be respectful of one another. Your roommate doesn't have to be your best friend, but that doesn't mean that you guys still can't be really close, have heart-to-hearts, and do things together because you are going to be sharing a small space together. I think at the beginning, it also helps to be very open with each other on your preferences. So for instance, if you're a very tidy person, let them know. If you're going to be having a lot of guests over, ask if this is okay. If they're going to sleep before you, ask them if it's okay to keep the light on. So I think small things like this that just help them feel considered, they really do go a long way. So the next thing I want to talk about is drinking and parties. So drinking can obviously be a very big part of college, and for some people it can be something that they're really excited about or nervous about. A lot of people feel like they have to drink or party to fit in, but this is definitely not the case. I'm someone who personally doesn't drink that often and I don't like drinking all that much, and I still had a lot of fun in college. I made a lot of friends, I was in a sorority, and I would say I still had the full college experience, but for me, drinking and partying just wasn't something that was a big part of my life. I'm personally someone who would rather stay in with friends and order pizza and watch movies rather than go to parties or bars. So if you're like that too, I promise that you're not the only one. Don't feel like you have to do something you don't feel comfortable doing or don't enjoy just because you think it's expected of you or everyone else is doing it. The next thing I want to talk about is health, well-being, and fitness. So this is probably your first time living away from home and eating in a dining hall, but don't forget to take care of yourself. Keep track of how much sleep you're getting, and don't forget to eat your fruits and your vegetables and all of that, because I know dining halls can be pretty tempting when they have like a pasta station and a pizza station. Take advantage of the rec center, which is probably included in your tuition, and see if you can go before or after class. Also, if your school requires you to take a mandatory fitness class like mine did, this is also a good time to do that just so you can stay active. Also, a huge thing I wish someone had warned me about was try to limit food runs, especially unnecessary ones that are late at night. I cannot tell you how many times freshman year my friends and I got breakfast at midnight, or we would make drive-through fast food runs, which looking back now was just completely unnecessary. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is classes. Think of adjusting to college as its own 3-credit-hour class, so it's okay to have a lighter load your first semester, and I personally think it's better. This probably isn't the best time to pack on the course load, and you really don't want to end up biting off more than you can chew. Be honest with yourself about how much classwork you're willing to take on and what works best for you. If you can avoid it, don't register for 8 a.m. classes if you're not a morning person. I promise you, even if you woke up at 7 a.m. every single day for high school without a problem, you're not going to be very happy sitting in an 8 a.m. class when there are other later time slots available. My personal favorite was registering for the 11 a.m.s, you know, not too late, not too early. Speaking of classes, remember why you're there in the first place. College is great. It's filled with so many amazing opportunities and so many things to do, but don't forget that you're there for your education. Don't let this new lifestyle distract you from what really matters, because it's really easy to get caught up in distractions. Plus, you'll feel so much better when you're being productive and when you find the right balance in college. So that's it for this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!